Hello viewers, today we will be looking at simple interest. We'll be looking at how much Gregory will get in an investment he's going to do after 2 years. Let me just simply read out the question. Gregory invested a sum of $10,000 for 2 years in a bank's savings account at an annual interest rate of 10%. How much interest will he make in 2 years' time? Also, how much will be in his account in 2 years' time? So Gregory is investing $10,000 for 2 years in a bank savings account. The interest rate is 10% per annum. And what we are trying to find out is what will be the interest in 2 years' time and how much will be in his account in 2 years' time. So the amount he invested is called the principal. That's the amount he started with. So that amount is the amount he invested, which is $10,000. So the principal is $10,000. And then the duration for which the investment will go on, for which his money will be in the account, is the time. And that time is 2 years in this particular case. And then what we are looking for is the interest after 2 years, and then also what we're looking for is how much will be in his account in 2 years' time. So let's look at the formula for finding the simple interest. So the interest is simply principal times rate times time, all divided by 100. Principal, rate times time, all divided by 100. And let's see what P represents. So starting with I represents the interest, and that's what we're looking for, and that's why we have the question mark. P is the principal. The principal is the amount you start with. In this particular case, the investment amount, which is $10,000. The rate is the percentage. So you have 10%. So all you do is to put 10 in that equation, and of course the 100 below is your percentage. Then you have your T, which is your time, and the time is in years. In this particular case, it is 2 years. So we have Gregory investing 10,000 US dollars in a savings account. The interest rate per annum is 10%, and then the time is 2 years. So all we need to do is to simply substitute into this equation above, and then that gives us our interest. So like we said, the interest is the principal times the rate times the time. The principal is 10,000 US dollars. The rate is 10%, so we put 10, and then the time is 2 years. This 100 here accounts for the percentage. When we simplify this, we know that 100 cancels there 100 cancels 2 of the zeros above. So we have 100 times 10 times 2 above. 100 times 10 is 1,000, and then times 2 is 2,000. So therefore our interest is equals to $2,000. So at the end of the 2 years, Gregory will have an interest of $2,000. But we now want to know what the amount will be in his account. So the $2,000 is the additional amount that he's been able to gain by the bank. So we need to find out what the amount is. The amount can simply be defined as the principal, that is the initial amount he started with, plus the interest. Of course, you had an amount in your account, a certain amount in your account before, and then you now have an interest that you accrue from saving in that bank and saving in the savings account, which is at 10% interest rate per annum, and also for 2 years. So what is going to be your total amount now? Your amount will now be your principal, the initial amount you started with, plus the interest you get at the end of the duration. So what is the amount? The amount will simply be equal to what's the principal. You started with $10,000, and then you have an interest of $2,000. So simply the amount that will be in his account after the 2 years is 12,000 US dollars. So very simple. The interest after 2 years is $2,000, and then the amount after the duration is $12,000. That is the initial principal, which is 10,000 plus the interest 2,000, and that gives us 12,000 US dollars. So let's look at another example where 50,000 naira is invested by Adetola for 5 years in a bank's savings account. So let me read the question. Question 2 is, Adetola invested a sum of 50,000 naira for 5 years in a bank's savings account at an annual interest rate of 12%. How much interest will she make in 5 years' time? Also, we're interested in knowing how much will be in her accounts in 5 years' time. So just like we had previously, her amount she's investing is 50,000 naira. So this is the principal. The principal is the amount you start with, you invest with. The duration is the time in years. She's investing for 5 years, so time is 5 years. And the interest rates per annum is 12%, so the R is 12%. So there are two questions: how much interest will she make in 5 years, and how much will be in her accounts in 5 years' time? So once again, we will be using the simple formula. Interest is equals to principal times rate times time, all divided by 100. That is PRT over 100. Now let's identify what our interest is. Our interest is unknown, and that's what we are going to solve for. Our principal is the amount that Adetola started with, and Adetola started with 50,000 naira to invest in a savings account. And the interest rate per annum in the bank she invested in is 12%. 12% per annum. Now, what is the duration? The duration is the time, and this is expressed in years. She is investing for 5 years. So we have everything it takes to be able to calculate simple interest. Therefore, the interest, when we substitute all the values, is the principal, which is 50,000, times the rate. The rate is 12% per annum, and then the time is 5 years, all divided by 100. So let's simplify this. 100 cancels the 2 zeros above, So we have 500 times 12 times 5, and that gives us 30,000 naira. So the interest she gets after 5 years is 30,000 naira. Now let's look at the total amount that will be in her account after that 5 years. Remember, she initially started with 50,000 naira. So that is the principal and then plus this interest. So at the end of 5 years, the amount that will be in her account is the initial amount she invested, which is 50,000 naira, plus the interest she was able to obtain after that 5 years, which is 30,000 naira. Therefore, the total amount will be the principal, 50,000 naira, plus 30,000 naira, which is 80,000 naira. So after 5 years, Adetola will have 80,000 naira in her account. Thank you very much for watching this video. Kindly subscribe, like, and share.